To love is through our use of nonverbals. And you might have heard this expression, nonverbal means non-speaking, non-words actually. And so nonverbals actually are 2/3 of how we communicate. 2/3 of how we communicate is through things that they're not the words that you choose. Now, this means that when you see a friend and you ask them how they are and they say fine, and you know they're not fine, you know what I'm talking about? The spouse that says they're fine and you know they're not fine. They said the word fine. Why do you know they're not fine? Their face, body language, and their tone. Very good. So tone is one of those catchy ones. You guys passed the test. Tone is not verbal because it's not having to do with the actual words you say. This is when your child, I say, did you make your bed? Yes, I made my bed, says the kid. And you say, don't talk to me like that way. What? I said, yes, I made my bed. No, you didn't say that, right? Because your tone has something else. So all of these nonverbals are tremendously important, and they are part of how you're communicating to your spouse. So let's unpack a little bit of that. There was one, Bird Whistle is one of the famous researchers on this, said that it's been estimated that 250,000 facial expressions are recognizable. That's why we can see, we sense, and we can read people way beyond the words they're saying. So much of what they're communicating is not through words. This was made clear in a very popular show, Lie to Me. Did you guys watch Lie to Me? So sad that went off the air. Lie to Me rocks. And he studied facial expressions, micro expressions, and that's part of his living and how he helped catch killers and stuff like that. You don't have to catch a killer. You just have to read your spouse. You just have to read and start to learn what's going on with their face. Scott has gotten really good at this lately. It's kind of scary. So he can tell what's going on with me. Wait, what are you doing over there?
Sitting here.
Way far away. He can tell what's going on with me, and it's really cute. It makes me feel very loved. So let's look at some of these gestures. Gestures are the things you do with your arms, the way you move your hands. This is incredibly important. Your body language or your posture, your hands on your hips. This is very closed. If you're trying to look open, like, yes, tell me how tell me how you're thinking. And then I care about you. Yeah, tell me more. But you've got your arms crossed. It sends a message of closed. You want to be open with your body. Be aware of what your body is saying. So if you're sitting there like, yeah, I'm into it, and you've got your feet up and you're not into it, then that's sending a message. I don't really care. I don't really want to spend time. You're dragging yourself to the spot. Yep, we said we would talk. Let's go sit down and have our talk. And you're like, all right, I'm here. Well, that's bringing negativity to the space, right? Not to talk. I'm a theater person, so that's negativity to the space. You want to show with your body language that you're open, that you're ready, that you're positive. Facial expressions are huge. Eye contact is big. Eye contact, man, that should be a love language all of its own. Scott can hear what I'm saying even if he's not looking at me. He can repeat it all back. It drives me crazy. Like, you're not listening to me because you're not looking at me. And then he tells me everything I said. Well, maybe it's about more than just knowing what I said. Maybe I needed that connection. I needed that eye contact. Women tend to need eye contact more than men. Men tend to communicate very effectively and communicate with other guys especially, not making eye contact. It's part of how they're wired, and so that's okay. But you could be aware of how loving that is to a wife for you to make eye contact. And Scott and I break a lot of stereotypes, so I'll flip it the other way. Women, if the man needs eye contact and that feels loving to them, then you can work harder to do that. There are times where I might be cooking dinner and Scott's telling me about his day, and I'll say, because I can tell it's maybe a more vulnerable topic, I'll say, do you want me to stop what I'm doing so I can listen differently? And then he can say, yeah, will you please, or no, it's okay, keep on, keep on cooking, I'm okay. Opening that up is something that you guys can decide together can be incredibly important. Then we've got paralanguage. Those are those things that you already mentioned about tone, but also your voice quality. When a person's about ready to cry, you can hear their voice quality change a little bit. That's important. The rate that they speak, how fast or slowly they're speaking, can be a huge cue to you as what's going on. The pitch, sometimes our pitch goes up a little bit or it goes down, or the volume that we're speaking. So sometimes our voices can raise a little bit and the other person says, don't get upset. I'm not upset. Well, it sounds like you're upset because you're talking really loudly. This is an important note too. And then prosodic things like your rhythm, your intonation, the stress that you put on words. All of these things communicate. If you're stressing certain words, you are communicating something through that. You have all these things that you're messing with. And some of you guys are like chefs in a kitchen where you don't even know the ingredients you have put in. I would encourage you to understand some of these ingredients that you're cooking with in communication, because you're putting them in and you don't even know that they're cayenne pepper or that it's too much of this or that. And so these are ingredients that you can use for good things. You can use them for awesome recipes and to communicate really effectively. But like any good ingredient, it's like too much or too little or the wrong thing and the wrong recipe can be really damaging. So these are good tools that you have. As you think about your own habits, non-verbally, like if you're thinking about maybe a habit you even identified last night, a habit that you have or a trigger, what do you do with your body when that trigger happens? What do you do with your body when your spouse says, I'd like to talk with you? What do you do with your body? And what could you do that would send a lot of loving, positive messages their way? I want you to take a couple minutes and look at these last two questions, reflection. Name a nonverbal that can distract your spouse from the message that you're trying to send. I was trying to say I listen and I care. What's something that you do sometimes that can distract from that message of I love you and you're the most important thing? And secondly, a nonverbal cue you can latch on to communicate more effectively. What's a positive thing you could do to help out?